Okay, good day class. So, as for our chapter 1 or the introduction of our forensic chemistry. So, we have here learning objectives for our forensic chemistry. So, first, you will learn or we will define forensic chemistry. It is the role of our forensic investigation. Identify the characteristic and main function of forensic chemistry. Discuss the four stages and practice of forensic chemistry. And also enumerate the golden rule in the practice of forensic chemistry. So first, what is forensic chemistry? Forensic chemistry refers to the branch of chemistry that deals with the application of chemical theories and principles in the solution of legal problems in relationship with the administration of justice. This field studies apply science and technology to investigate and establish facts in a criminal or civil court of law. In simple terms, forensic chemistry in the application of chemistry to law. Okay, so this Kennedy and so Christian 2012 is the source of this paragraph. So, ano ni both silingon yan eh. Okay, forensic chemistry is used kung sa aton crime scene, it is to investigate or to gather evidence to prove that the certain suspect is the one who committed the crime. Okay, so anong mga uses or anong nga pwede mag-gather sa aton crime scene? You have there mga footprints, okay, you have there mga fingerprints gamit or ang ara gamit sa tool, sang scene or sa crime. Okay, if rape cases naman yung class, okay, you have the sperm. Okay, then mapanitudan na siya with the use of DNA testing. Okay, if mag-match ang sperm sang na-collect sa babayi sa aton suspect, okay, therefore siya mapamatud-an nga kumitar sang krimen. Okay? The word forensic is derived from the Latin word forensic, which means of the forum or speaking the truth in the public. The forum, arguably the historical equivalent of modern day court, is a place where ancient Romans used to conduct public discussion. Therefore, forensic science is the application of scientific principle to the criminal and civil law, which are enforced by police agencies in criminal justice system. So let's now proceed with the history of forensic chemistry. Okay? As the history of forensic chemistry can be tracked to the use of poisons by the ancient Egyptian, Greek, and Romans, okay? Democritus, an ancient philosopher widely considered as the father of modern science, was probably the first to study poison. Okay, so tandaan nyo the first one who studied poison was Democritus. Poisoning was used by the ancient world as a method of murder and also execution, such as when Socrates was sentenced to death by drinking a hemlock. Okay, hemlock is a highly poisonous plant. Okay, so Socrates is one of the ginpainom or execute with the use of poison. Okay, anong gamit nga poison na? Hemlock. Okay, ang hemlock is poison that will na-extract sa isa ka poisonous nga plant. Okay, the use of arsenic, a very poisonous metallic element, was also widely spread during the time of 82 BCE. Okay, the ancient Roman civilization created law against poisoning. Okay, since damo source ang poison sa una, therefore nagstrikto ang Romano which regulates the use of poison. Ibig sabihin, hindi na dali makabaligya or bakal or makakuha sa mga poison sa amunto nga panahon. Okay, so in 1752, the first actual chemical test for poison was undertaken during the Blandy trial. In 1836, okay, the Marshall test was developed, which was the first reliable analysis that scientifically demonstrate the presence of arsenic in the body of the victim. Okay, so ang first nga test nga truly proven, okay, to detect that there is a poisonous material or ang mga arsenic nga ara sa body sa atong victim is what you call your Marsh test. Okay, so tandaan nyo lang ang mga importante. Okay, centuries later, in Belgian chemist named Jean Servaas Stas, okay, conducted studies on various methods employed to detect certain types of vegetable poisons in the body. Stas is the best known for his work in determining the atomic weight of elements and served as the leading chemist in Belgium during his time. In 1851, Stas was required to examine the organs of the dead body involved in fibro, Fibtorious murder case, concluding that the victim had been poisoned, then try poisoned at natural product considered at the responsible of for over murders at that time. Next is the 19th century saw the rapid advancement of forensic chemistry. Tests for blood were developed through the effort of German Swiss chemist named Christian Friedrich Socroben, who discovered the first reliable method for identifying human blood in 1863. Okay, the Dutch chemist Isaac van den, who discovered another test for the presence of blood, was at the same time in. Okay, so ang difference yan ni Christian Friedrich Socromben kag ni Isaac van den is ang kay Isaac is only the presence of the blood. Okay? However, kay Friedrich, kay Christian, okay, it is gin-identify agad ang human blood. Okay? Okay, same time lang sila na develop. In also 1832, British chemist James Marsh invented the Marsh test. Okay, luwat gani. Ang nag-invent sang Marsh test is James Marsh. Okay, anong purpose na? It is to the test arsenic present sa body sa aton nga victim. It was also during this period when study of the bullet fingerprinting began. Okay, enabling the identification of weapon used in crime and the individual who used them. Kaya ng bullet printing, okay, for example, ang certain nga amo, okay, di ba sa aton nga amo may mga bullet marks kita na, like yung production, mga na. And also is, if may present pa nga fingerprints ang tao nga nagtandog sa amo na nga amo. So you have there bullet fingerprinting. Okay, like ang mga source ang bala sa din sa manufacture, mga amo na. Okay, so by the following century, more ushered in the development of sophisticated methods for fingerprinting of bullets. Okay, what is Locard's exchange principle? Okay. Locard's exchange principle, okay, is another key figure in the history of forensic science in Edmond Locard. This Edmond Locard, who also made several significant contributions to the new science of fingerprinting. Locard succeeded in setting up the first police laboratory in Lyon, France in 1910. He is best known for the low-card exchange principle, which has been adopted as one of the tenets for forensic science. Okay, the principle holds that every contact leaves a trace. For the every contact between two objects results in the exchange of traces between them. In other words, it is impossible for criminal to perform an act of violent crime without some traces or iniya nga presence sa iya nga debris. Without having some trace of his or her presence. As example of a Locard, highlighted the power of the microscope to characterize the debris deposited on the clothing of a person moving through different environments. This principle is further explained below. Okay? So, basahan ko na before ko mag-explain. Okay? Whether he stepped, whatever he touched, whatever he leaves, even unconsciously, will serve as a silent witness against him. Only his fingerprints or his footprints, but his hair, the fibers, from his clothes, the glass he breaks, the tool marks he leaves, the paint he scratches, the blood or the semen he deposits or collects. All of these are of this and more bear mute witness against him. This is an evidence that does not forget. It is not confused by the excitement of the moment. It is not the absent because human witnesses are. It is the factual evidence. Physical evidence cannot be wrong. It cannot produce itself. It cannot be wholly absent. Only human failure to find it. Okay? Study and understand it can diminish its value. Okay, ano ibig sabihin yan eh? For an example, ang inyong nga suspect or ang tao nga nag-commit sang crime. Okay. Tuod, pwede ma-identify ang iyang fingerprint kag iyang footprint dulaon niya. Pero ang environment mismo, okay, for example, you have mga teleserye sa GWA, you have their mga FBI or ang ilang nga SOCO. They are very highly technologically advanced na. Okay? Ibig sabihin, ang ilang tanan nga geological advantages nila is tanan nga lugar nila to is na map na nila. Ibig sabihin ang tanan like ang soil, okay, types of soil, kung ang soil ni Bay magtaas lang iyang content of a certain material, okay, pwede nila ma-distinguish or kung sa diin nga part nga sang state dira halin ang amo nga soil. Dahil sa Pinas okay, do hindi pa mo naka-advance when it comes to geological advancement. Di pa kita ka like mapping for certain types nga sand or gapabilin sa aton sapatos to give exact location sang aton nga soil kung di nahalin. Okay, pero it can prove as a witness or as evidence nga, for example, ang muto nga lugar is lutakon. Therefore, if ang imong suspect magintago sa nga sapatos nga may fragments sang mud, okay, although try to be cover up ang iyang footprint. Okay, like may gingamit sa nga kahoy para dulaon ang iyang footprint. Pero sa iya sa sapatos mismo, okay, may kapabilin nga mga mud. Okay, although ginagasan niya, pero may kapabilin pa sa kilid-kilid. Then if as one who conducts the investigation, ikaw, okay, ikaw ang mag-secure dapat sang amo to sang imong sa iya sapatos to make sure nga kumplito kag wala mo na tamper ang evidence. Okay, therefore pwede mo matest nga ang source sang iyang mud dito sa sapatos kag sa dito sa crime scene is similar. Na. Okay, ang ginahambalya whatever it touch, okay, ang mga fingerprints niya, okay, if may mabilin pa, okay. Basta yung iba madaan na like mga unconscious or mga aksidente lang, like mga wala yung ginaplanuhan, therefore hindi sa conscious sa mga fingerprints yung ginabilin, lang hawiran niya. Okay, therefore as muna gyapon investigator, you must be very thorough sa pag search sang mga areas where possible nga nag-handle siya kag may ma-retrieve ka mo nga iya nga fingerprint. Okay, whatever he leaves, ang iya nga mga papilya niya na is pwede man ang mga fiber sa iya nga bayo. Since basi nasabit siya, therefore may same nga fibers ang iya nga bayo nga napabilin sa crime scene. Okay? Okay, it will serve as silent witnesses. Kay hindi nila mapamatud-an ng mga witness nga na kung as investigator wala mo na kita. Therefore, ang last nga part nga ni is only human failure to find it. Okay? Study and understand it can diminish its value or mapanubo ang iya nga value. That's why as sa person nga na in charge sa crime scene or sa forensic laboratory, okay, dapat kabalo ka gid mag-gather sang mga inyong mga evidences. Okay? Next is Orfila. Okay? Orfila is the father of modern forensic toxicology. Mateo Joseph Bonavier Orfila, okay, a Spaniard who worked at the University of Paris in the early 19th century. Okay, is regarded as the father of modern toxicology. He pursued a career in medicine and was appointed of medical jurisprudence and was a professor of chemistry in the School of Medicine before serving as the dean of the faculty at the University of Paris. Dito na pag anong yung ngalan nga malaba, okay? Orfila, okay na lang kita da. Orfila established numerous basic principles of modern toxicology and is probably the first person to conduct experiments on the effect of poisons. In 1813, he wrote the first book devoted exclusively to the toxicology, Treatise de Poison or Treatise on Poisons. He established on the book in medical chemistry, okay, or elements of medical chemistry. Exhumed bodies, Thursday on legal exhumations, and toxic effects of arsenic, research on poisoning by arsenic acid in 1841. Orfila was also frequently summoned in criminal trials as an expert witness on the use of poisons. Okay, Newton 2007. Sir Francis Galton for the fingerprints. Okay, so the role of fingerprinting in the field of forensic science was established with the publication of the first scientific book of the fingerprinting in 1892. This landmark work was entitled Fingerprints and was written by Sir Francis Galton in 1822-1911. Using previously studied, Galton developed a system wherein the precise pattern of a set prints could be used to identify its owner. Okay, Galton's scheme uses categorized space of the three main patterns of your fingerprint. You have your loops, whorls, okay, hindi na whorls but whorls,
World.
and arches. Okay, the person fingerprint identity consists of the sequence of these patterns. Originally, the system was developed for Galton studies on racial characteristics and heredity and not for crime detection application. However, within a decade, law enforcement officers and criminal prosecutors had begun to use Galton's book to accurately identify a convict criminal nga man. For your fingerprint class, di ba, yung fingerprint is very unique for yourself alone lang yun na. Okay, everybody has different set of fingerprint nga man. For your three patterns, usually na, it is may other pattern pa na para mag unique gid para sa imo lang. For example, maybe sa kung may same kang pattern when it comes sa imong index finger, pero sa iban nga like for your middle finger, imong ring finger, na ang pattern mo sa iban. Okay, may mga may, like may mga spaces pa na sa imong nga fingerprint. Okay, ang mga loops nga na okay ga double loop, ga triple loop, mo na. That's why ang imong fingerprint is very unique sa imo lang. Okay, the importance of forensic chemistry. Okay, forensic science deals with the application of science to legal matters. Crime solving chemistry plays an essential role in interdisciplinary field of forensic science, especially in crime laboratory, wherein the same principle and law of chemistry are used to examine evidences. Crime science analysis involves the use of forensic chemistry principles in establishing the cause of unnatural death, detecting illegal drugs in the blood sample and also the urine, and determining the causes of fire. Therefore, methods of research, practice, and presentation must meet the needs of both scientific and legal communities. Okay, for example, ang imong detecting illegal drugs in your blood and urine. Okay, ang ano na is for your drug test. Okay, kung matudaan ang tao nga suspect nyo is under sa influence ang illegal drugs, therefore ipaagi nyo sa drug testing. Okay, ano nga rada? It's either marijuana, cocaine, with shabu, and ano pa ginang ibang nga drugs. Dira nyo matudaan if may nag-take it man siya sa illegal drugs. Then sa imong determining the causes of fire or sa aton other term na for legal term for your fire is arson. At present, forensic chemistry has proven to be very effective in reconstructing the sequence of events and constitute the crime being investigated, thus bringing the perpetrator close to the crime he or she has committed. Such accurate information may eventually lead to the perpetrator's identification, arrest, and conviction. Then you have here the summary na lang. Ito na. Forensic Laboratory in Philippines. Okay, ang iya history. In Philippines, the practice of forensic began the passage of Royal Decree number 188 by King Philip during the Spanish rule in the country. Under this decree, forensic physician called Medicos Titulares was assigned in Philippine provinces to perform public sanitary and medico-legal duty. Today, there are several forensic laboratories in the country, including those from the 5 distinct offices, 2 satellite crime laboratory in Valenzuela City and Marikina City, regional and provincial offices of the Philippine National Police, the University of Philippines General Hospital in Manila, the Philippine Drug Agency, Enforcement Agency or PDEA in Quezon City, the National Bureau of Investigation or NBI in Manila and its regional and provincial offices. The crime laboratory or a crime laboratory or ginatawag na crime lab in short is a scientific laboratory that uses scientific science for the purpose of examining your evidences na ginakollect nyo sa mga criminal cases. It refers to the laboratory where highly trained technical personnel renders various related services. Ibig sabihin, pwede ang tao nga naka-undergo training makaobra sa crime lab. Hindi nga police lang, okay? Hindi lang nga medtech lang. Ibig sabihin, need nila anay mag-undergo sang training para makaobra sila sa crime laboratory. Okay? So, pero usually na ginagamit or ang mas gina-preferred sa crime lab is either chemist, medtech, since ang CRim media is usually sa duty. Pero may pwede magyapon as criminologist makasulod sa crime lab. Kaya may training na gyapon. Okay, the PNP crime laboratory consists of uniform and ununiformed personnel with high level of expertise and the ability to provide scientific investigation services through the fieldwork, crime scene operation, forensic laboratory services, as well as criminalistic training and research. Allied service includes your autopsy, drug test, DNA examination of questioned documents, fingerprinting services, your histopathological examination, macro etching examination, semen determination, so on and so forth. So dumdamo that test nga under sa aton nga forensic chemistry. So as we further discuss aton nga topic, mabalanta na amat-amat. So requesting the parties of the submission or kung mapangayo ka mo sa aton nga mga forensic lab. We have here submit an official letter of request for a civic service together with the evidence of the specimen and other details about the specimen, suspect and the time and date of the confiscation, the nature of the case, and the type of examination request. In drug specimen, a chain of custody form must be completed and signed with all person who handle the subject of drug specimen. Below the table shows the jurisdiction of physical evidence according to the examination to be performed or ang flow. Okay, for ang aton ginapangayuan nyo lang, for example, is ang physical nature of the evidence. Okay, ang ano na isa, branch of the examiner or yung PNP crime lab. Ang ano yun na for your fingerprint need is ang fingerprint division. Okay, firearm evidences, firearm identification division, biological mga evidence, like mga hair, mga muna, biological evidence area, trace evidence, okay, like for example, mga footprints, okay, your physical identification division, document evidence, question document division, mga files, physical matching evidence, parehas lang sa inyong mga DNA, okay, your physical matching evidence division, your toxicology evidence, your chemistry division, your drug evidence, under nagyakon sa chemistry, which deals sa inyong chemicals, your macro etching for vehicle, or ang ilang ginagamit nga sa lakyan for mga plate number, na your physical identification division. Next is the forensic chemist. Okay, forensic chemist is a professional chemist who analyzes evidence from the crime scene and derives the conclusion based on the undertaken on such evidence. It is a task of forensic chemists to identify the and characterize the evidence as part of the overall crime-solving process, given that they handle the evidence collected from the crime scene. They are often summoned to the court to explain kung ano ilang na-find out sa mga evidence. They can prove technical explanation that assist the final judgment and will analyze the evidence. However, they cannot determine the verdict. Ang judge lang na gihapon. Okay, so versatility, the patience, and the of-cited qualities of the forensic chemist. Your characteristic of a forensic chemist. Okay, ano na yung mga characteristic? Okay, so the practice of your forensic chemistry in the Philippines, similar to other chemistry practices, is covered by your Republic Act, hindi na important man, 754, also known as your chemistry law. This was enacted on June 18, 1952. The chemistry law clearly states that a registered chemist is any person who is in charge engaged in the profession practice of chemistry is duly registered with the Board of Chemistry and Professional Bureau (PRC) to undertake the professional practice of chemistry. Among other, forensic chemists must be first be able to spend hours rigorously applying analytical techniques to the evidence. Number 2, clearly and concisely answer challenges to his finding. Number 3, possesses moral integrity. Number 1, ano na sa ibig sabihin, kabalo siya mag-perform sa mga test nga kaangay-angay sa mga ebidensya nga na-collect. Kay base, masamad niya lang ang ebidensya, matamper niya lang. Number 2, clearly and concisely answer challenges to his finding. Ibig sabihin, makahatag siya sang concrete nga mga result, hindi pataka-taka lang. Okay, wala yagin pinalagpatan ang iyang mga test. Number 3 is possesses moral integrity. Anong moral integrity ta? Ang pagkamatuod sa iyang obra, wala yagin baligya ang iyang moral sa tungod kay ginbayran sa. Okay? Kung ano ang iyang na-perform na test, kung ano nga result ang nakuha ya dagin present ya mismo sa korte kung ano ina. Okay? Your functions of forensic chemist. First is to conduct qualitative and quantitative examination of dangerous drug as well as volatile substances. Ang mga dangerous drugs you have your shabu, cocaine, your marijuana. Okay, Preventive Drug Act 2002, and also your RA 9165, and also your presidential degree, your 1619. Number 2, conducts examination on explosive and other explosive ingredients. You have number 3, examination on firearms and paraffin cast to detect the presence of gunpowder nitrates or your gunpowder residue. So hindi ta na ipagpadalman ni since may ano na sa may topic na siya nga mas specific sa mga. We have here conduct chemotoxicological examination of human internal organ, gastric content, your blood, water, food sample, and other substances. Conduct examination of fake products in case of unfair trading competition. Conduct blood alcohol determination, examine urine and other body fluids. Conduct research and training related to the cases being examined. Delivers lecture on forensic chemistry. Ito pwede sa conduct seminar para mas ma-enlighten ang mga pulis nga mag-collect sang sample sa crime scene mismo, kabalo sila kung anong ilang nga i-collect. Testify and provide expert opinion in the court as well as attend court duty as expert witness. Then respond to queries or mga questions of all investigative units and render expert opinion regarding the matter related to the application of chemical principle for the purpose of assisting the investigator para hapos sa ila mag-perform sa crime scene mismo kag mag-collect sang tsakto nga result para as forensic chemist nga naka-duty ka na sa lab, okay, makakapagbulig ka sa ila nga hindi ka na magkatuto nga ikaw pa mismo magkuha. Okay, conduct field laboratory work and clandestine laboratory investigation. Now, for the 4 stages of the practice aton nga forensic chemistry. Okay, you have there. Stage 1, okay, able to collect and receptions of your specimen. Okay, collection refers to the proper collection or the halin sa handling and packaging of your specimen before an analysis. Analysis can be started. Ibig sabihin, pag-kolekta. Okay? Tapos pag-kolekta mo kung paano mo gitkaptan or ginahawiran ang inyong specimen, dapat hindi siya masamad. Okay, sa pag-pack nyo, make sure nyo nga properly sealed siya para kung ano mo naging collect mo, kung liquid siya, hindi sa mag-leak. Kung ano sa base ang inyo na nga other may mga reagents kamuda sa same yung nga bag base masudlan siya kay wise na properly sealed na muna. Sabihin masamad. Reception refers to the process of receiving the specimen by entering the specimen condition on the logbook. Ibig sabihin kung ano iyang cases or iyang estado sang gin-collect mo ang certain nga specimen. Next, stage 2, actual examination. Conduct the various experimentation procedures of different specimens submitted as request by the requesting party. Kung ano man lang gin-request amo lang na ang i-perform. Hindi na pagdugang-dugangi kay ang ano na is irrelevant aside lang kung ang ano gidya ang gin-request mo is broad or tanan nga test nga possible pwede mo maobra-obrahon mo. Pero kung specific lang, hindi ka na magdugang pa sang other pang test kung wala ka man lang ginpamangkutan na kung anong mga request nga pwede maobra or mga examination nga pwede maobra da. Number 3, writing the result. Okay, this step involves the drafting of the positive and negative result, presence of drug, mga etc. or positive siya sa example B, ang request is mapadrug test siya kay ginano suspect if under siya sa influence ng drug. Muna, sabihin ang collection, anong pag-collect mo. Okay, paihion mo siya. Anong inyong klase pag-ihida? Dapat nakabantay, ginabantayan siya nga mangihi. Naman, kay base may tsansa nga, may collect, may matamperya ang ihi nga ginano niya. Base hindi ang ginbutang niya, base ang tubig nga halin sa basin. Okay, then ginsilyohan niya. Tay amo nang iyaypasa, therefore ano makuha mo da. Kamo nga ni nga when it comes sa drug testing, ginapabantayan na siya to make sure nga iyagid ihi ang ginabutang sa specimen cap. Then ano da is ang naming or mga labeling, then packing, okay? So ginano ya nga selyado gid para hindi mag-leak ang imo nga or ang iya nga specimen. Next is ang actual nga examination. So for drug test man lang, okay? Ibig sabihin ipatest mo lang siya for sa drugs lang. Okay? Kaya di ba sa atong nga urine, okay, may mga urine test kita do mga usual lang pa laboratory ka ano pa makita da sa imong ihi, mao na daw i-microscope pa nila. So hindi mo na pag i-perform for drug test lang, di ba? Kaya ano yung request drug test lang gid gani. So ibig sabihin may kit kaya nga gamiton para sa mabalaan mo kung may presence ang amuna nga drugs. Okay? Next is ang writing sa report. Kung may residue gid masasang drugs or wala amo man na nakasimple since sa kit mismo may makita ka nga result makangay-angay or it's either line or kung ano man da depende sa mga kit nga gingamit. Next is ang fourth, court appearance. This is the final stage wherein the chemist must explain to the court the finding and the explanation conducted on the specimen submitted. Okay, so dapat present siya during sa court hearing. Okay, we have here the forensic chemist as an expert witness in the court. Okay, and forensic chemist can be called as an expert in the court of law by virtue of following qualification. First of all, it is sa iya nga education. One must be licensed, registered chemist, okay, preferably with a master's or PhD nga degree. Okay, so preferably man lang na. So, it's either lang that. Next, number 2, training. Okay, one must have undergone training or seminar in the field of forensic and must be updated or the training of forensic chemistry procedures in and outside the country. Kaya may lalain na nga procedures depende sa country kung ano ilang ginada. Next is expertise. Ibig sabihin, may hands-on experience na siya involving sa atong laboratory procedures and must know how to answer the court inquiries about chemistry principle during court presentation. Next is the forensic chemist. As an expert witness must have sufficient and specialized knowledge in the forensic sciences beyond that of an average person that has or her expert opinion must about a piece of evidence can be considered dependable on legal bounds. A qualified expert may testify in the form of opinion or otherwise so long as the following criteria are met. Okay, ano mga criteria na? First, the testimony is based on sufficient facts or data. Ibig sabihin, ang mga evidences nga gindala nyo is makapamatud-an nga tuod. Okay, hindi fakes. The testimony is produced of the application of reliable principle and methods. Ibig sabihin, ang gin-perform mo nga test is napamatud-an, effective, or efficient. And third is the witness has applied to the principle and methods reliable to the facts of the case or ang ganun term na the witness has applied the principle of the methods reliable to the facts in the case. Though depende kung ano nga type sang kaso nga ginapa ano ang witness. Ibig sabihin compatibility. Okay? Lastly, aton is ang golden rule. Okay? Ang golden rule sa practice of forensic chemistry, as with the other disciplines, and there are several important rules that must be followed, which include below. Okay, first is go slowly. Okay, good work cannot be hurried. Therefore, take all the time necessary to make the case complete, no matter how urgent it may appear. Sabihin, hindi ka magpinadali. Number 2, be thorough. Liwat gani, di ba? Mga small nga mga evidence na pwede mo-gather, importante na ina. Make sure the a minute examination of everything and do not be satisfied with the quantitative analysis. If a quantitative one is possible, anong ginamit sa quantitative? Ang mga ano man nakadabo sa mga ebidensya ang gindala pero wala mga langganay pulos. Sabihin, mas ginano ang quality. It always pays to do much rather than to do little, and it is difficult to foresee what will or will not require in court. Okay, next is take notes. Keep a full, neat, and clean record of everything seen and done. Kung ano man tayo mga ginhulag, dapat kabalo ka kung ano ang mga imo mga ginpagtandog da para if ara sa report, mabalaan nila kung anong nag-change or anong naglain. Next is consult others. Hindi ka patuga-tuga. Ibig sabihin, many cases will lead with the expert into paths which is not familiar, and when this happen, he should consult those who better know it. Okay? As investigator, balaan mo gid nga uh, may chance gid nga ikaw makasala ang imong knowledge kulang pa. Therefore, you need to consult others. Hindi ka magpa taas-taas gid. Okay? You need to be you need to know kung din ka magpa-humble down kag mangayo bulig sa mas eksperyensyado kag expert na sa imo. Next is use your imagination. Okay, an expert with a wide and incredible imagination is considered as the most dangerous creature. Through this, being imaginative is sometimes useful. An expert witness does not have to be solely imaginative, but has to be skilled in the field of forensic science. He must bear witness within limits of science. Sabihin, yan ang ginamit niya ng imagination ka, like, kita niyo man nagro sa mga teleserye kung to ma-visualize siya kung ano natabo sa crime scene mo na. Pero as a investigator, so dapat kagyapon sa fact kung ano ang ara nga mga gamit dahil hindi nga malupad ang imong imagination, do imagination mo ang limit. Okay, you need to base your imagination sa mga facts nga na-gathered mo to make your imagination realistic. Okay? Pag hindi layo ka tama sa actual nga natabo. Next is avoid complicated theories. This simple explanation is fundamentally the right one. Interpretation of the result is often the most difficult part of the expert task. That is why a wide knowledge and scientific expertise are the essential parts of the to obtain the right forensic examination result. Next and lastly is the equipment used in forensic. Okay, equipments used in forensic examination. You have the following laboratory equipments. First, you have your HPLC. Okay, HPLC stands for High-Powered Liquid Chromatography. Okay, this scientific equipment is used for the qualitative and quantitative determination of volatile or non-volatile compounds based on the chromatographic separation of the components. So, usually, ginagamit niya siya for mga sample for either sa imong drugs. Okay? Next is your ultraviolet spectro photometer. Okay, it is used for the quantitative and qualitative analysis of organic compounds. Okay, for low mga small traits ng certain nga analytes. Next is your EMIT. EMIT stands for Enzyme Multiple Immunoassay Technique. It is used for screening of abused urine sample. Abuse, ibig sabihin na tampered or may mga dugang-dugang sila para mag-negative sa mga test. Next is ESEM, your scanning electron microscope. Okay, it is a scientific equipment. It's used for physical identification of virus question specimen. It is a software controlled digital scanning microscope used to produce a sticking image of an electron wide range magnification. Okay, on a rough or covered surface of a minute specimen such as your hair, fibers, paint, particles, drugs, metals, and etc. So it is a highly advanced microscope. Next is lastly, your FTIR or your Farrer Transform Infrared Spectroscopy. Okay, it is used to identify the pure organic substances in is identified organic substance, particularly abused drugs and explosive ingredients based on their characteristic functional group. In layman's term, the result Ang resulting spectrum could be referred as the fingerprint of the substance. Anong ginamit niya? Fingerprint of the substance. Sabihin ang iya nga small traces pwede pa nga ma-identify. Okay? So that concludes sa aton nga chapter or sa aton nga introduction sa aton nga forensic chemistry. So next will be the chapter 2 that I will be discussing later on. Thank you so much and God bless.